Greetings, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend, and I hope that you thought about something or someone that you're appreciative of, and I hope you do that every day going forward, because again, it will lower your stress response. On day 105, I did a video on theory of mind, and after doing the video, I was reading a book called Crucial Conversations. And again, if you've not read this book, if you'll hone in on it just a little bit for me there, Mackenzie. Crucial Conversations, a fantastic book. I highly recommend it for anyone if you have to have conversations, whether it just be with your family, with a relationship that you're in, your children. It really doesn't matter. It's how to have a great conversation with someone in which everyone wins. And that's really important there. But while reading that book, I came across a chapter in the book that I thought was very, very relatable to the Theory of Mind video that I did, again, on day 105. And it was really cool because it talks about when something happens in a conversation or something happens in a meeting that you're having with a group of people, depending upon what is said and how it's said, you can tell yourself a story. So in other words, something actually happens, but you get angry about it, frustrated about it, sad or rejected. And when you do that, you tell yourself a story to justify the emotions that you have. And then finally you act out on it. And I thought, wow, that's like theory of mind. In fact, that is theory of mind. When we attribute beliefs, emotions, knowledge, intent, desires to ourselves and to others. And it can really affect your relationship with your dog because just like with a human type relationship or a human setting, think of it like this. I give the example, your dog disobeys you. Maybe you say, come, but the dog doesn't come to you. And so when that happens, maybe you become angry. Maybe you're frustrated. Darn it, now I'm going to have to chase the dog all day long. I have to get my car, circle the neighborhood, you name it. Maybe you become sad. Wow, I don't think my dog likes me. Or you feel rejected by your dog. And so now what actions do you take when you feel like that? I've noticed people over the years do everything. Some will say, okay, well, that's it. When I get my hands on that dog, by golly, that dog will never run off from me again, ever. And they'll overcorrect the dog for every little mistake it makes. It's by golly, my way or the highway. And they take that attitude. And some think, oh no, well, I'm kind of feel rejected. And why do I feel like that? Because the story that I told. I always take in many cases when the story or the actions that took place, the actual facts don't agree with us, we tend to make up a story, but it's always the victim type story. In other words, it's not my fault. So you start thinking, okay, well, the dog used to come to me, but now that my husband's been doing the training or my husband's been hanging out with the dog, now the dog no longer comes because he doesn't make the dog do it. So it's not my fault. Or it's the dog's fault. Oh my gosh, I have a stupid dog. He doesn't know what I'm trying to teach him. Or again, he doesn't like me. And then finally, oh, it's hopeless. And when you have these create your emotions, and then your emotions create your acts. And you either overcorrect the dog or you undercorrect it because now you're worried, oh, maybe the dog doesn't like me. So then some people even stop correcting altogether. So in other words, they don't have productive training taking place. Some people actually do nothing. They don't care. Okay, the dog ran off. Well, I'll make someone go get him. And then some stop training, period. So in other words, these people who do nothing, they just let go on the way it does. They continue training. They continue training ineffectively. And the consequence of that is over here, but they don't adjust to it. And some just have it's hopeless. So they just stop training altogether. And then eventually, this is how we end up with rehomed dogs. Dogs sent to rescues, dogs sent to shelters. And I don't need to tell you what happens if they don't become adopted. Then, when we have overcrowded shelters. Behavior is the number one reason why dogs end up in shelters. By far. So I really love this chapter in the book because it just really makes sense in everything. If my dog attacks someone, well, it was the other person's fault. If my dog runs away, again, it's not my fault. I've been doing the correct training. It's someone else's fault, or it's the dog's fault. We never want it to be our fault. So the recommendation that they make in this book with regards to your human interactions, your human conversations, is retrace your steps. So how did you act? Did you start overcorrecting your dog? Why did you do so? Because you were angry, frustrated, sad, or felt rejected? First thing you need to do here is get over the illusion that your emotions are the correct emotions for this situation. In other words, admit to yourself, I'm not always right. That's a hard thing to do. But you have to do it because you're dealing with a dog who's not a human, who doesn't get these emotions that you have. They definitely get your act. They don't get your emotions. So then once you adjust that, then you can go back and say, okay, what really did happen here? The facts, please. Again, as I told you before, I used an example. In business, great business, as they talk about even in here, in crucial conversations, you got to pull emotions out of it. You got to think with your head, not with your heart. So at this point here, you got to get your heart out of it and get over here to where your head is and say, hey, what really did happen here? Because once you do that, then it comes full story back here. Okay, so obviously my dog does great coming to me when I call it in the backyard. But the dog ran away at the park. Perhaps maybe instead of being angry, upset, sad, feeling rejected, maybe I should now instill an action plan that takes a little step back. Maybe I need to kind of rework come when called. Maybe I need to do come when called at the park and not just in my backyard. Maybe I need to do more of the work. Maybe I need to work with my husband and make sure he's doing it correctly as well. There's so many positive things we can learn from this. Maybe I shouldn't have been angry. Maybe it is my fault. Maybe I need to do things over. It's not the dog's fault. Guys, I highly encourage you to, even though this is not a lot of dogs mentioned in it, but it doesn't matter. Because this exactly, I just loved it because when I came across it, I go, oh my God, that's what I've been doing for years. Something very similar to this. I just did it this morning with our trainers. They were working a dog that's here for a board and train program. And I immediately stopped them and I said, hey guys, let's think here for a second. Let's retrace our steps. Here's what you're doing. Why are you doing it like that? And I listened to the story that they were telling me. But the story didn't match the facts. Welcome to being human. It's what we do. But the beautiful thing about being a human is having that higher cognition that allows you to understand what's really going on when you give it a chance. So yeah, Mackenzie, come here a little bit closer. Get us a little good shot of this. Again, it's in the book, Crucial Conversations. The authors do a really good job with this book, and I just absolutely love it. And I think that if we were to do this with, like I said, with our relationships, with our employees, with our family, and for sure with our dogs, then I can one day reach up here and go, let's just get rid of that right there because that's not going to be the case. That's not the act that we're going to take. Okay, guys, so this was just a little bit of a supplement to day 105 on Theory of Mind. Before we close today, I always ask you to share the information if you found it beneficial, and I ask you to send me questions if you have them. Today, I want to step aside from that because I need your help, and I need to ask you a favor. If you don't mind, I'm going to show you a picture. I know I have it somewhere. There we go. Okay. This is Ollie here laying next to Captain in a bed. Ollie left us today. He was a 16-year-old cat. We loved Ollie. Captain loved Ollie. I'm a dog man, but you know what? I really loved Ollie. He left us today. And Kara is taking it pretty hard. Do me a favor. Put Kara in your prayers today. I know Ollie's in good hands. I don't need to worry about him. But if you'll put Kara in your prayers today, I would appreciate it. Because she's having a rough go of it. I cannot tell you how many, oh my God, hundreds, if not thousands of pictures of Ollie sitting on her lap while she's talking to you, while she's doing something for Taming the Wild. How many times Kira would have a bowl of Captain Crunch, and Ollie, there he is, eating the Captain Crunch. He loves Captain Crunch. This is what pets do for us. They come into our lives, and then they depart our lives. And he will always have a place in our heart. And we'll go on. That's what Ollie would want us to do, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what you're going to do. So if you can, do me a favor. Say a little prayer for Kara. Cheer her up. She's having a little bit of a rough go of it. But she'll get past it. Kara's a real strong girl. I love her to death. Okay, speaking of that, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be talking about the end of times, the end game. What happens when? How do we know when the end is near? Because we did know it was near with Ollie. We did. So it wasn't sudden and wasn't unexpected. Doesn't make it any easier. But how do you know? What actions should you take? How do you grieve? What happens to your other pets when your dog or your cat passes? So again, tune in for that, because I'm going to spend the next 2, maybe 3 days, depends on how far I get along in these videos, on that subject. It's an important subject, because if you own a pet or own enough of them, they will pass. And it's always a difficult time to deal with that. But a little bit of knowledge can get you through a little bit easier. Okay, guys, love you. See you tomorrow. Enjoy your day.